Cool. Welcome,
Turn
everybody.
the video off.
Yep. Turn your video off if you're going to be on bad behavior. Um, Today is July 19th. We're doing the Athens Dev meeting. In case anyone forgot, I'm going to put the agenda link into the Athens chat. Sorry, into the Zoom chat. And I wanted to just go down the agenda from top to bottom today. So actually, before we start though, I always like to do this. If anyone, I see one new face here. So if you want to introduce yourself, go for it.
Yeah, sure. Hey everyone, my name is Emil. I work at DigitalOcean on the internal Kubernetes platform. And while reading about Vigo, I discovered Athens. Started following Aaron, and he tweeted about the weekly developer meeting. So I thought I'd come join, see everyone, and slowly learn about what GitHub issues are important to start picking off.
That is so awesome. So awesome. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, of course.
We love us some Kubernetes for sure. So, hello,
And
Tyler.
DigitalOcean.
I'm Tyler.
Thanks for joining. Are you cool telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm a developer programs engineer at Google. I work in DevRel. I work on Go and specifically Go on GCP. So yeah, I think in general, I'm doing some work on Vigo, and this project looks cool. So wanted to see how it was.
Awesome.
Welcome.
We are so happy to have you. Thanks for coming today.
Happy to be here.
Cool. Let me, since you two just joined, I'm going to put the link again to the agenda into Zoom because I know Zoom doesn't have back scroll. So I want to just go down the list from top to bottom today because the one at the top is kind of particularly important to talk about. So when I say cache fills, what I mean is if either the registry or the proxy doesn't have a package in its storage, whichever storage it might be using, it has to go out to the VCS to grab that package. If someone's on Go 111 and they do go get github.com/my/package, the thing will have to go out and basically do a go get behind the scenes and get the zip, the mod, and the info and store it into its storage. So the question is, and we've been asking this question for 1 or 2 weeks now. The question is, should we block the go get request from the client until the download has completed on the server? Or should we do it asynchronously and return something like a redirect or a 404 or something like that to the client? And so for a little bit of background, I think I was the only one to be like, no, I don't think we should. I think we should do it asynchronously. And that like brought us down this road to basically to that issue number 290, and then there's kind of like a bunch of tangents off of that. And then Brian and I both talked with Russ yesterday, and I brought this up as well. And I had like a few concerns that I felt like were big, that kind of justified in my mind why we should do it asynchronously. And then it basically boiled down to I was concerned about timeouts if we did it synchronously. And basically, I think it's going to be okay now. I've made a 180 because I am convinced that we can work with the Vigo team, the Go team, I should say, to ensure that like things won't time out if the server has to download a huge module from somewhere. So that's the history up until like this moment. I wanted to hear what other folks think, whether you're super involved in this project or not. What do you think? Synchronous or asynchronous?
Sync.
+1 for sync. Okay.
Sync.
+2 for sync. All right. Other folks?
I don't think I have enough background to say either way.
Okay. Fair enough. Any other opinions? All right, cool. I will paste an issue. Sorry. You guys already know about issue 290. I have actually started some sort of investigatory work on can we do this thing synchronously, how it would look in the code. That's PR 291 that I put in the chat. This is like one of maybe 2, possibly 3 steps to get us towards doing these cache, I call them, cache fills, doing them synchronously. And I should have this done at least today, and I'll post that, kind of tell people that, hey, this is proof of concept into the Athens channel. But I'd love to get as many eyes on it as possible so folks can try it out, see what they think. The biggest thing that has always been on my mind, which is the reason I was such a stalwart against sync for a while, is this going to be really weird if someone doesn't go get like Kubernetes and they have to wait a while for the server to download Kubernetes and stream it down to the client. So if and when you kick the tires on this, really kick them hard and see what falls out.
I think I saw a suggestion somewhere that was maybe it could do like a T operation, so it responds to the request and caches in the background at the same time.
Yeah, I like that. I think there was some idea that maybe the server could take advantage of like a thing that's not yet built that uses the Go CLI to download just like the mod, the zip, and the info. That's the thing that's not yet built onto a disk. And then, like you said, basically stream disk down to the client and then another Go routine, send it up to the cache, wherever that is. So I think that's totally doable. And actually, even now, we can do the go get and just go find it in the global cache, go find those 3 assets in the global cache, stream them, and then in parallel send them up to the storage. I'll just call it storage, I guess.
Hey, Aaron, I have a question. For the concern that it would be slow or would time out, I mean, if Kubernetes is big or whatever, if the module's big, it's going to be slow. It's going to take time to download regardless, right? Either we're doing it or they're doing it, the client.
Yeah.
Or do we end up downloading a bunch more because we're getting the full repo first?
As it is right now, go get without a proxy would just download the whole repo anyway.
Yeah.
So as long as we can do, like Tyler, as long as we can do what you said and stream it, I mean, there's a little bit more network overhead because we're downloading from, let's say, GitHub into the A cloud and then the cloud down to whoever's executing go get. But I think order of magnitude wise, it's about the same.
Cool. This seems a lot easier to understand. It's always baked my brain how the cache misses work.
Yeah. And there's a lot of unwritten code that we don't have to write now.
Yeah, something that we should keep in mind here, especially with something big like a Kubernetes, there's going to be, there should be some way to line up everyone that's requesting a new version. So rather than downloading and streaming multiple copies of the same zip, if one starts that request, we should be able to hook others onto it. Because especially like when Kubernetes throws out a new tag, there's going to be a rush to it. And that's going to hit, that's going to just trample the edge proxies.
Yeah. Do you mind writing that up in issue 290? Comment somewhere? Because I think that's, I have an idea that's probably not that great on how to solve it. That I'll write up as a response in there so everyone can see it. But I feel like we can do way better than my crappy idea. So let's move that into there because we need to solve that like soon.
So can I ask a question about the async versus sync, just so I can better wrap my hand around this? Is the question of going through the caching proxy to do it synchronously of fill the cache and then read from the cache to the client versus at the same time fill the cache and route to the client?
The original was, so the original question that I had in my mind was from the go get on the client, should we return only after we got the thing from GitHub or wherever? Or should we just tell go get, nope, go figure it out yourself, while in the background we go and fill the cache?
Okay. So for the client then, does that mean they have twice the wait? Because they're waiting, if we're not doing this T method, then they're waiting for the proxy to save the file, and then they're waiting for the download from the proxy to the client.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay.
So that's probably not the best. I think it sounds like a good middle ground is.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say, keep in mind, this is really only the first request for a new tag. So the experience will be a little slow for the first request, but out of the thousands we'll get, it will just be the one that's slow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So first adopter pays.
Okay.
I think also, Brian, you had mentioned this recently. We could sort of longer term, we could probably build some kind of a crawler to warm caches, as it were. And so the first adopter can be like not a person and just us, something that we run.
Yeah, my idea was that we would build a webhook that you could call from your repository on a tag event that would trigger this.
Hearts. That'd be so cool. Cool.
Another option for the first PR might be not doing the T method right away. And that might make it a little bit simpler, and we can just add on later.
Yes, +1 to that. Start simple.
Naive. Don't worry, I was going to be naive even if you hadn't said that. Because I'm lazy. But I will put it, I will put a follow-on issue to it so that we remember, like, hey, let's do that for real when we deploy this for real. Cool. Shall we move on to the next item? Cool. Actually, the next item is how to do redirects. This is a little bit less applicable since we're doing synchronous. If we do synchronous, it sounds like we probably will. But the idea behind redirects was if someone sets go proxy to a thing and the proxy doesn't have it for whatever reason, or it refuses to serve it because it's on, let's say, an exclude list, how do we tell Vigo, the client's Go, to go grab it from the VCS or wherever, some other place that it knows about? There's an ongoing issue in the Go repo. It's number 26334. That has this pretty awesome discussion on how to do it. I think it's cool to have. It's a really nice functionality to have to give people. But I don't think it's as urgent for us now to have it. So if you haven't checked out that issue, 100% totally recommend go checking it out. But yeah, if anyone has opinions now or comments, I'd love to hear them. I think it'd be good to get this out there.
I 100% agree with Russ on this, that as a proxy, it doesn't make sense to be the master of where else you should get things. It should just say, I either have it or I don't.
Cool. Yeah, agreed. I think my take is this issue is going to be ongoing and probably go 112 at the earliest. But like a thing will happen, and I think we should probably all keep up on it, but I'm not sure if we need it now. So yeah. The next one, duplicated logic between Go and Athens for handling commit SHA modules. This was from, I think Marwan was talking about this pretty recently. The idea was if we're in the proxy, we probably want to let folks like who might be running it inside of an enterprise, and they're trying to get code from their own internal private VCS. We probably don't want to force them to tag everything because that might just not be the way they work. So then we get into the business of having to like go to a VCS and check out a specific SHA and then zip it up and serve it and everything. And that's like all duplicated logic that's already in Go and GoGet specifically. So his question was, hey, like, can we somehow share that code? And that's a hard question for sure because it's internal right now. But this was another thing that Russ mentioned yesterday, that we could just use the CLI, and that was kind of our plan-ish already, to just do an OS exec on GoGet and put the code somewhere and then read it off disk. So personally, my sense is like, let's just keep doing that. But what do you guys think?
I don't think you're going to convince people to make something exposed that's right now an internal from the prototype, because we expect it to change between minor versions. So I don't think, I wouldn't be terribly comfortable taking stuff that's in 111 right now and exposing it when I'm pretty sure we're going to change some of it. We don't want to make a contract before we have to.
Yeah, I don't want to sign anything.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess I vote for the CLI.
Okay.
Directing to it and calling it.
Okay.
I think in the short term that works. As it becomes more stable, I think we can move towards actually incorporating that, so we can do the same streaming, the same T method on hashes as we do on tags. But that's going to be down the road, of course.
Yeah, I totally agree. I just mean for what's coming out with Go 1.11, like, because no one wants to commit to what's in there, and we actually know we're going to change things from 111 to 112. We don't want to expose stuff right now, but once it stabilizes, I completely agree that this would be really nice to give access to other people so that they're not copying and pasting it out of the Go source code.
Yeah. There is a possibility, I suppose, that we can use the actual like GitHub or other VCS API to grab SHAs. But that kind of comes with some complications that like about what API keys do we use? How do we get one that's like global, not just for individual? So that's a thorny thing too. And my sense is maybe that's another down the road thing. It'd be super cool, but yeah, maybe not right now.
Just wait until Microsoft owns GitHub and we get a magical unrate limited key.
Well, that'd be cool, but we still have GitLab, Bitbucket. But yeah, I mean, GitHub's the only one that matters. No, I'm just kidding.
I think we know a couple of people at Atlassian and whatnot. They'll give us secret keys too.
Yeah. The other one is there's a lot of internal GitLab deploys that we'll want to support in the proxy. And I think that the GitLab API got 2 versions now. And so that I would rather not like build in support for V1 and V2 in the proxy, and instead just say Git client, and give us your remote, and here we'll just do a Git clone on that. Actually, not even a Git clone, just a go get, and we'll just get the mod file and everything else and serve it to you. Cool. Server-side redirects to GitHub. This is a conversation that I don't have enough background on. This was another Marwan's idea. Oh,
Marwan's here.
Speak of the devil.
Sorry, I'm late.
That's cool. We went through everything. We just hit your bullet point, the server-side redirects to GitHub. So can you talk about that one?
Sure. Is there anything I'm supposed to look at, or I can just go off and talk about it for a long time? So let me ask you exactly what you want me to talk about, just so I don't take too much time.
Just background. Like, what was your idea behind it?
So it's about like synchronous and asynchronous cache filling. If we want to kind of always be available in certain ways, there's a bunch of scenarios how VCS redirects would work. So I can give you just one of the scenarios, which is the HTTP client handles redirects internally. So you wouldn't see in Vigo or Ghost code anything about redirects. It'll just ask our proxy for something. And if we redirect, Vigo or Go wouldn't even know. So the HTTP client internally will actually handle the redirect. It will create a new request to whatever we redirect it to. And then it will return the response to command Go. So that's the regular redirect. That's the status, like, moved permanently. Now, but when it comes to the redirect to VCS, that's a whole different thing, because we're not just redirecting an HTTP call. We're saying completely switch the protocol. Instead of using the proxy, use Git or Bazaar or whatever. So this way is a bit more complex, and command Go would needs to update. And so there was some discussion on an issue that hopefully we post the link, because I don't remember the number of it. It seems that Russ is totally okay with it in the sense that if we return a 404, then Go is smart enough to realize that the proxy doesn't have a module, and it will back up and will try VCS instead.
I think the only question there, the only issue there is whether internal corporations who are running proxies have them blacklisted. Returning a 404 and then going out to GitHub is kind of the opposite of what we want to happen at that proxy level. We should return like whatever a not allowed is, or
right. That's a good point.
Some other client error with 418. I'm a teapot.
Yeah, great. Yeah, for sure. I think that makes total sense, as long as Go and Go can distinguish between a redirect, a VCS redirect, and I mean, if you return 500, then if it's blacklisted, then the module shouldn't even compile, right? Because it wouldn't compile with a dependency that's blacklisted. So I think returning like 500 or anything else should be okay to stop a build from happening, but maybe we should return a specific error to actually have a better user experience.
I agree. I'm going to file an issue for that now.
Great.
Cool. Oh, and Marwan, before you got on the call, we talked about this big first bullet point that I snuck into our agenda like right before. It was for you, so I'm sad you weren't here, but it was talking about, like, generally speaking, can we do synchronous or should we do asynchronous? And the TLDR was like, I've been a stalwart against synchronous for a while. I've changed my tune. And I've actually I filed this big kahuna issue, number 290.
Right.
As you probably saw, I started working on like a POC of it in PR 291. And I'm hoping to have like something I'm hoping to have like something today that people can try out that would give us like the full end-to-end on the proxy and probably on the registry too.
Great. I also updated the PR list, the list PR per the comments you did. So if you could take a look at that, that'd be great. Or if anyone else wants to take a look, the idea is that when command go calls /list to the proxy redirects to Olympus. And so redirects would work just fine. Go wouldn't even know that we did a redirect. But when it comes to Olympus, if it doesn't have a cache, it actually goes to upstream and goes to GitHub and says, give me all your tags. So since it's Olympus, I've made it so that it only works with tags. Otherwise, it returns 404. I think that's what I have. But so that's the PR. And so we would need to be ready because we're telling Go, we do have these versions, right? And so it's going to ask for mod or it's going to ask for zip. And so we need to be ready for when it asks for a specific version. And I think that's where your PR is headed probably.
Yeah.
I think synchronous. So the last thing I want to say is that synchronous doesn't mean it's not performant if we work things out, because like I said, we could do the streaming thing we've discussed on and off, where if we talk to the GitHub API, we could fill in the cache while we're copying to command go at the same time. If we can manipulate or deal with streams without making things way too complex.
Well, great minds think alike. Tyler suggested that too a little bit ago. So yeah,
Great.
I love it. I'm gonna start the stupid way and not stream and just like copy and then do it, and then I'll be like, hey, can smart people please fix me? And then other people can do it.
Yeah, I think doing go get internally just makes a lot of sense right now, because otherwise we're just duplicating so much logic. We've mentioned that, like, even if we're doing streams, I mean, we should be doing something that go get is not doing. Otherwise, we're just duplicating logic. And so maybe if go get itself starts talking to the GitHub API, we shouldn't even we should kind of just delegate most things to we always maybe return 404 and cache at the same time. I don't know, not 100% sure. It just depends on how things are going to go, because every time I tried to go that route and I'm like, I just want to make Athens work, and I would start writing all the stuff, I realize I'm just copying and pasting from command go.
Yeah. Well, that is an excellent segue into the final bullet point, which is from you, Carolyn.
Yeah, so I tried to pick up Athens and get it running so I could get more people contributing to it and trying it. And was kind of running into trouble. And then I worked with Aaron and Brian on Tuesday, I think it was. And we were kind of like getting everything running, working for demo. And I was just curious, like, did the things from that get merged so that we can actually like spin up just the proxy, not Olympus, and be able to use that with the tip of Go and actually have that work?
From what I remember in there, we had to like manually construct the zip and like manually fill in the info and mod.
Yeah.
The synchronous fill stuff that I'm doing in PR 291 is that logic.
Okay.
So not merging it.
When the big kahuna goes in, will it work, or do I also need the list stuff that Marwan's adding?
That's a good question. Do you know, Marwan?
So if we're always doing go get, we might not need the 404. It just might be super slow because we're doing the entire thing and then moving it over. So with Aaron's PR, we won't need the redirect stuff. We won't need the command go to actually be updated. But when we get a little bit more complex, or if we actually start doing GitHub streaming and stuff, we probably would need the 404.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
Marwan, you have a fanboy.
Oh, wait, let me look at the chat. I appreciate it. I haven't done much, but I still appreciate that.
That's a lie.
I don't think I've published a lot of stuff besides like just me being on Slack.
Mm-hmm. Lies. You've done a lot of things.
Cool. Likewise, Brian. There's some
Okay.
bromance going on the chat.
So Carolyn, yeah, like this week, I really want to have a good, I think a lot of us, we want to have like a good thing that we can publish in a README or somewhere. So like, I want today to have it. I've got one meeting this afternoon. So I'm hoping to have like a lot of time to finish this synchronous fill stuff. But whenever it is, then I want to like PR a document, have everyone try it out, or someone PRs a document, everyone try it out, and see like, does it work? Is it make sense? What's missing? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I would be pumped to add, I know, because you know, we don't have something that just uses the tip of Go and then hits the proxy in our tests. So I was hoping after yours goes in, I would add something to our build that would try that on every push to master and in our PRs, so that we know when it starts working and we know if we break it at any time. So I'll help code review your big kahuna, and then would like to jump on the next step.
Cool.
Yeah, as soon as it works, I'd like to put up a small public-ish instance too, so that we can start playing with it.
Yeah, I got my little broken ACI container running that doesn't work.
Woohoo!
We can replace it with one that does work.
Just leave it VS Code live up constantly, and we can all just hit that.
Yeah. But it'd be cool also. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mara.
Sorry, I just wanted to say, if you could also just ping me whenever that PR is ready to look at. I'd love to play with it, because
Sure.
I can't keep up with all the emails. There have been a lot of good contributors lately, and it's getting out of hand.
Yeah, it's a good problem.
We got ourselves a community.
Great problem to have.
By the way, the big kahuna issue is going to be a bunch of small kahuna PRs. So I'm hoping to get this one in. It's just a little refactor to get the fetcher stuff in the right place and working. And then I'll publish the other PR that addresses like more of the kahuna today. So we can use that to actually do testing. And then question mark, and then profit after that.
Totes.
How those works, right? All right. Other people have items, questions, comments?
I can give a quick update on the organizational side if you want.
Great.
So we met with Russ on Tuesday and went through some of the technical bits, and then more of it was talking about longer term planning for Go and GoGet and Athens. And the TLDR of that meeting was that we have the full support of the Go team, and they're really excited about Athens and getting this up and running. I have had initial conversations with Google, Microsoft, DigitalOcean, Amazon, and JFrog. Some subset of that group is going to be our initial people hosting our registries. And we met today with John Gossman from the Open Source Project Office at Microsoft. He's getting us set up with the right people to create a nonprofit foundation so that we can so this will live outside of our tenures at our specific companies, and that's a good thing too. So all of that is in motion.
Awesome.
And it's slow and legal and not coding.
But it's legal.
But it's awesome.
Cool.
Has there been any discussion about it being, I mean, this is an idea right now, but part of the Golang organization rather than something separate?
I don't know if I'm ready to comment on that publicly.
Okay, yeah.
The Golang
That's
organization is operated by Google, right? There's no backing foundation or like the CNCF.
Correct. Yeah, there is no foundation or nonprofit that owns the Go IP. It's all owned by Google. There has been continued discussions with the Go team by lots of people on what happens at some point in the future when they do move Go to a foundation. And we did suggest to Russ on Tuesday that the foundation that runs Athens could eventually be that host for the Go IP. And he didn't laugh. That's all I can say.
Cool.
He only laughed at my awesome jokes.
And then if there's nothing with that, the other comment I have is, are there any security considerations to be made or that have been made? Could see some malicious person trying to cause issues.
There are, yes. I don't think we've talked much about them. One of Brian and I's colleagues, Eric St. Martin, he has some amazing ideas, and I think, Brian, maybe you correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's going to start getting into some of that stuff like soon-ish. I don't know all the details though.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what his timing availability is, but the first step that we're going to do is add message signing to the registry to registry gossip protocol, so that only a certain few keys will be trusted, and all of the messages that move between the registries will be signed by those keys. The public keys will be baked into the Go tool, so that packages not been published, features from those keys won't be trusted. That's step one. We have a lot of other stuff like provenance planned, so that you can go all the way back down to the commit level and prove that a package is exactly what it claims to be with full provenance at the commit level.
Cool.
And by the way, Tyler or anybody else, that link I put to registry.md, it has the details on that gossip protocol. So if you have ideas on like how to add security to it, or if you find something that's just wrong about it, please by all means PR it or issue it, and yeah, we'll work on it. Because that stuff is like implemented, not tested. We obviously haven't deployed it and seen it work across clouds. So nothing is set in stone on that front. So yeah, by all means, if you've got something there, more eyes welcome. Cool. If there is nothing else, anybody? Yeah, Marwan, go for it.
Sorry. Yeah. I have just one quick selfish comment about what I'm about to do next, because I'll post the issue that I'd like to work on next, which I created myself, but it kind of is going to affect whatever you're working on, which is why I'm going to post it there. And so feel free to take a look at it and maybe add some comments before I start changing everybody's way to do things. So I thought I should let people see it ahead of time and maybe give me some pointers if you have any. It's basically introducing an errors package, because we right now have errors everywhere. And, you know, since we haven't really been integrating things with other things, we haven't integrated Athens with other things. So errors are not like as a priority, but we're getting there pretty fast. It might be nice to have an errors package that can have like a specific behavior where we can deduce things from and have better messages and stuff. So once that's introduced, we're never going to return error. We're always going to return like something like errors.e and add some information. So I just wanted to put that ahead of time. So if people have opinions, suggestions, please look at the issue and comment on it so that I have it in mind as I'm ruining everybody's style.
Have you read the Upspin blog post about errors, Marwan?
That's the one I posted. That's basically where my influence comes from. And then someone posted another article, which is also influenced by the Upspin. I think it's by Ben Johnson. And that kind of takes the upspin in a bit of a different direction, which I think both are cool, but I might stick with the upspin way of things. But both are totally fine. I think they both achieve the same goal. So both articles are on the issue. If you haven't read it, I 1,000,000% recommend you reading it. Both Upspin and Ben Jonson, because it's really nice after seeing Upspin's article to read like some sort of reflections on it by Ben Jonson. So feel free to read it, and please add comments if you want.
Thank you.
That's it for me.
Sweet. Okay.
To circle back a little bit, Tyler, the other part of the security piece is we were going to build out a dirty list, we'll say, as anything that we get flagged as a security issue, like somebody tries to clobber somebody else's package, something like that, we can flag it and immediately, like, Proxy and Olympus will say, we're not going to serve this. This is bad. Don't, like, this tag is no longer a valid module because something upstream went wrong. Either there's a force push to that tag, so there is not a single module, or a security concern came in and we flagged it ourselves. So that's to take care of questions we can't answer. We'll just flag it as dirty and say this will not be served.
Cool. Sounds good.
Cool. So I'm going to wrap up by saying I'm going to change this meeting to be an hour, because I think every time we've gone over by at least 10 minutes. But that is not to say that everyone has to stay for the whole hour. So just want to set the expectation that we have an hour and people can show up and stay for as long as they want, just not 1 hour plus, because I think we all have other stuff to do, including and especially working on Athens. Cool, y'all. Well, I'll see you on the internet until next Tuesday at 11 Pacific.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.